In a story that has exploded across the WNBA landscape, Dijonai Carrington is under the harshest spotlight of her professional career as mounting public outrage, fan backlash, and league-wide scrutiny converge, following a series of aggressive and controversial on-court incidents that some are now calling a crisis of league discipline. The most recent flashpoint came during a nationally televised game between the Dallas Wings and the Los Angeles Sparks, when Carrington forcefully yanked opponent Sarah Ashley Barker to the ground by her ponytail, an act that was instantly caught, on camera, replayed in slow motion, and dissected by fans and analysts alike, who questioned not only Carrington's intent, but the WNBA's failure to enforce proper consequences. But this wasn't an isolated incident. Carrington has developed a pattern that can no longer be ignored. In just her last 5 games, she's been at the center of 3 major confrontations, raking Caitlin Clark across the eye, undercutting Skylar Diggins, and colliding violently with Sabrina Ionescu. This isn't a coincidence. It's a trend that has many questioning whether she's crossed the line from playing with intensity to weaponizing it. Some analysts argue she's becoming the WNBA's most dangerous player, with fans keeping track of each incident and posting highlight reels online of what they're now calling a dirty play streak. The hair-pulling incident in particular has sparked a firestorm because it came with such blatant disregard for sportsmanship. Carrington's hand was visibly wrapped in Barker's ponytail as she pulled her forcefully to the ground, causing an audible gasp from the crowd and waves of furious commentary from analysts. One commentator stated, "If those were extensions, they'd be on the floor," highlighting just how violent the motion was and fueling calls for immediate ejection or suspension. But none came, and the fallout has been relentless ever since. Instead, in a move that has left many dumbfounded, the referees downgraded the play to a simple loose ball foul. That decision didn't just spark confusion, it sent a chilling message. If this wasn't enough to warrant a flagrant, then what is? Fans took to social media, slamming the WNBA for turning a blind eye to behavior that endangers other athletes. Critics say the league is enabling a dangerous precedent, that if a player is high-profile enough, rules are flexible, and safety becomes negotiable. The outrage only intensified when older footage resurfaced of Carrington raking Caitlin Clark across the eye, a defensive play gone too far that left Clark wincing and stunned. Fans erupted online, dissecting the footage frame by frame, calling the contact intentional and reckless. Given Clark's role as the face of the league's new generation and its biggest ratings draw, the public couldn't understand how such an act could go unpunished. It wasn't just the physicality that struck a nerve. It was the league's silence afterward. Public opinion rapidly turned from frustration to fury as these clips circulated. Even casual NBA fans began joining the conversation across platforms like YouTube, Reddit, and Twitter. The sentiment was near universal. Carrington's actions are not just excessive, they're endangering the league's credibility. Multiple sports analysts have stated that her behavior would get her disqualified in MMA, let alone professional basketball. One headline bluntly asked, "Suspend her or resign, Commissioner?" That sense of accountability has now extended beyond Carrington herself and reached the WNBA's highest levels. Fans and former players have turned their attention to Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, demanding to know why flagrant fouls are being rescinded and why clear video evidence is met with silence or vague PR statements. Critics say the league is choosing reputation over responsibility, allowing reckless conduct to be swept under the rug because it involves a known player. And it's not just the league office coming under fire. The WNBPA, the players' union, is also being accused of political shielding, defending Carrington at every turn, even when the public sees overwhelming video evidence to the contrary. Fans now wonder whether honest criticism is even allowed in this new era of the league, or whether internal allegiances are taking priority over accountability. It's becoming harder to ignore the whispers of favoritism and selective enforcement. The heart of this debate lies a deeper question. What kind of league does the WNBA want to be? Can it promote toughness and competitive energy while failing to punish repeated dangerous play? And what message does this send to new fans, especially those following breakout stars like Caitlin Clark? When the league is drawing national attention, It can't afford for that spotlight to reveal cracks in its integrity. This has become a full-blown identity crisis, and Carrington is the lightning rod. Ultimately, fans are no longer asking if Carrington will be suspended. They're asking why it hasn't already happened. Calls for a one-game or even season-long suspension have reached a boiling point. The next move belongs to Engelbert's office. But if they stay silent or continue downgrading clear, flagrant fouls, the message will be loud and clear. Image comes before integrity, and that decision may come to define the future of the WNBA far more than any stat line ever could. The longer the WNBA delays a serious response, the more this controversy spirals beyond basketball. What began as outrage over a player's conduct has morphed into a national conversation about fairness, leadership, and the cultural identity of a growing league. Sports talk shows are now dedicating entire segments to Dijonai Carrington, not for her stats, but for her conduct. And mainstream commentators who rarely cover women's sports are weighing in. This isn't just bad press, it's a reputational crisis. When the highlight reel becomes a hit list of dangerous plays, the game itself gets overshadowed. And when that happens, no one wins. Not the players, not the fans, not the league. What's even more damaging is the double standard many believe they're witnessing. In any other professional league, especially the NBA, a pattern like Carrington's would almost certainly lead to a fine, suspension, or both. But the WNBA's handling has looked more like avoidance than accountability. And that's what truly has fans fuming. Not just the act itself, but the sense that nothing meaningful will be done about it. The optics couldn't be worse. Fans watch a player rake Clark across the face, yank another by her hair, and undercut a third mid-air, only to see those fouls reduced or erased altogether. It raises an uncomfortable question. Who exactly is the league protecting, and why? This question becomes even more urgent when sponsors and media partners start paying attention. With the recent surge in viewership thanks to stars like Caitlin Clark, brands are increasingly aligning themselves with the WNBA's image of empowerment, progress, and sportsmanship. But no brand wants to be associated with viral clips of apparent assault, fan outrage, and a league that seems unwilling to protect its marquee talent. If this pattern continues, the risk isn't just lost trust from fans, it's lost money from sponsors. And that's when leagues usually start to panic. Internally, there are whispers that team executives are also growing frustrated. No franchise wants to see their star player taken out by a dangerous foul in front of millions, especially when there's no assurance that it won't happen again. The physical health of athletes is one issue, but so is the league's emotional climate. Players shouldn't have to wonder if they'll be protected when they step onto the court. And right now, many are asking themselves that exact question. What does it say when Caitlin Clark, the most high-profile rookie in decades, gets raked across the face and the league shrugs? This failure of leadership is creating a dangerous precedent. Younger players are watching this unfold. College athletes entering the draft are watching this. Fans bringing their daughters to games are watching this. The message can't be that reckless behavior is tolerated as long as you're marketable enough or loud enough online. That's not empowerment, that's chaos. And if left unchecked, it risks turning the league's greatest moment of exposure into its greatest embarrassment. And then there's the issue of selective outrage. Some fans have pointed out that had a white player committed the same foul against a black star, the league's response may have been dramatically different. That's a heavy accusation, but it's one the WNBA cannot ignore. The league has marketed itself as a champion of social justice and equality, but justice also means accountability, and equality also means enforcing the rules on everyone. If the league wants to retain its moral high ground, it has to prove that discipline isn't selectively applied based on race, popularity, or social media following. Meanwhile, Carrington herself hasn't helped matters. While she's denied any malicious intent, her responses to criticism have often been defensive, sometimes combative. Instead of showing remorse or understanding the optics, she's doubled down or gone silent, leaving the door wide open for interpretation. Public figures don't get the luxury of ambiguity, especially not when the evidence is plastered across every sports channel and meme page on the internet. Silence becomes complicity. Defensiveness becomes guilt. and deflection becomes the story. It's worth asking, where do we go from here? The WNBA doesn't just need to suspend Carrington, it needs to send a message. A clear, unshakable message that dirty play will not be tolerated no matter who the player is. That protecting athletes, especially women athletes who already face more physical and cultural scrutiny, is a non-negotiable. That the league will stand for something stronger than PR spin and social media statements. A one-game suspension isn't going to cut it anymore. The hair pull alone warranted that. Add in the Clark eye rake, the Diggins headshot, and the undercut on Gabby Williams, and we're talking about a season narrative defined by dangerous behavior. The conversation around a season-long suspension isn't just reactionary, it's necessary. The NFL, NBA, NHL, and even combat sports have all handed down lengthy suspensions for less. The only question now is whether the WNBA has the backbone to follow suit. The future of the league depends on how it handles this moment. In a year when the WNBA has a chance to capitalize on unprecedented exposure, it cannot afford to let that spotlight reveal a broken disciplinary system. The league's foundation must be built on fairness, safety, and consistency. Without those, no amount of ratings or highlight reels will save it. The league is at a crossroads, one that demands courage, not caution. So what happens next? All eyes are on Kathy Engelbert and the league office. Do they stand with the integrity of the sport, or do they fold under pressure and optics? Will they finally step up and protect their players, or will Carrington be allowed to take the floor again like nothing happened? Because if nothing changes, if accountability remains optional, then the message to every player, every fan, and every little girl watching at home will be tragically clear. In the WNBA, safety is second, and image is first. And in a league built on empowerment, that might be the most dangerous message of all.